I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
And I certainly wouldn't want to be on the other end of that phone call. Why was he so unhappy, guys? It was because he's trying to look like the good guy. He's trying to look like the negotiator. And on the back of what happened, he then negotiated a peace deal. So there was a breach of that peace deal for a short period of time. He voiced what he thought. And guys, it's looking like it's a lot better because the markets certainly told a story. We talked about in the last macro video that Bitcoin was likely to pull back. Where was it likely to pull back to? It was the 38.2% retracement of this swing. We come back, we just about kissed it around 98,000. Now we've got a bounce and we're back in the bull pennant. So Bitcoin's actually gaining traction. What does that mean for the dominance, guys? It means the dominance is trying to spike back up. We've got a big rejection level. We talked about this in the Discord group. That is a big rejection level. If you zoom out, guys, zoom out. That's why that's a big rejection level. That goes back years. So we expected that to act as resistance. We then got a 3-bar reversal, green candle, indecision candle. You've got a rejection here pushing us back into this. And then you've got a lower low, lower close red candle. So that's bearish. That's good. And ultimately, we want a push down. So the next thing that we need to talk about, guys, since that's sorted or since it's under control a lot more than what it was before, we need to then look at rate cuts. And you can see that everybody is putting pressure on Jerome Powell. Even people within his inner circle are starting to put pressure on him to cut rates. So JD Vance is slamming Fed Chair Powell. I'd love to hear an argument for why Powell cut rates 50 basis points right before the election, but he can't do it now when inflation's actually lower. So you can see that rate cuts, guys, are the thing, and that's the hot topic and where we're going to get stimulus from, because as the rates come down, people can refinance. When they refinance, that creates stimulus. You can see the United States, if you look here, the highest interest rate globally, or one of the highest interest rates globally, and it's 4.5%. So the United States is at 4.5%, and it's about time that they did bring their interest rate down, and they've got so much wiggle room. Mr. Trump's actually calling for 300 basis points, but I very much doubt that that's going to happen. So that's what we're going to talk about, guys. What needs to happen in the short term as far as Bitcoin's concerned, the dominance, what needs to happen with Ethereum. Let's dive in. And we will start with Bitcoin because we have gained some traction. We have gained a little bit more confidence in the market. This is where the technicals do go hand in hand with the macro, with the news and the web that they call finance. So Bitcoin's pulled back. It's $107,042. How far is it away from its all-time high? Let's have a look. It's now 4.55% away from its all-time high. So a break of this trend here is what we're waiting for. Once we get a break of this pennant, Bitcoin is then in price discovery. Once you're in price discovery, guys, the price gets higher and the price gets higher. Why is that? Because people don't know where to put resistance. Why is that? Because it's in price discovery. So just an example, guys, you've got this build of structure here, massive build of structure. Look what happened for us to break through this structure. We haven't broke through the structure yet, and we're waiting to break through. But the important thing is the structure that was created enabled people to understand exactly where price was going to react going forward because it had reacted there previously. When you're in price discovery, guys, and when you're in all-time highs, you don't understand exactly where the resistance levels are. So people put them sporadically. Imagine something's $100, it's in price discovery, and then people are trying to put sell orders in, but they don't know where the sell wall is because there hasn't been any build-up of structure. So they put it at 110, some 115, some 120, and it wouldn't create that consistency. And when it doesn't create the consistency, there's not a sell wall. When there's not a sell wall, price breaks through a lot easier. So that's why you get big swings when you're in price discovery. This is when Bitcoin was in price discovery. So it absolutely smashes through, guys, when you don't understand or where people don't understand where to put their resistance levels. So like I say, around about 4%, 5% to its all-time high. And then we look at the dominance, because this is the key thing that we've been waiting for. And we really need this to be a rejection point. If this turns sour, guys, and if something else happened from a macro perspective and Bitcoin dominance done something like this, that would just be out of the ordinary. How long does this wedge go back? Let's measure it. So we go back all the way down here. So this is 2017, guys. This is an 8-year wedge. So that's an 8-year resistance point. That's why we expected that reaction. And that's why we got that reaction. That's why I'm expecting that to act as resistance. And not only that, guys, we got some of the telltale signals, which was this bearish divergence. What does this mean? You put in a higher high on price, and you put in a lower high on the RSI. This is signaling a shift in momentum. This is signaling that the chart is telling a story, but the story that the chart's telling is incorrect because this needs to pull back. That's what we're waiting for, guys. We're waiting for the big pullback for Altseason 2025. So the Bitcoin dominance is an important thing, and you can see that we're hovering above that high. I think personally, guys, we're creating a bit of a flag here. What do I actually think? I think that we're going to get rejected. I think that potentially Bitcoin's going to have another try up. We're going to create a double top. We're not going to breach this. We're not going to close above there. And then we're going to get rejected. That's what it feels like to me, guys, just looking at the other charts and painting a bigger picture. So we've seen what Bitcoin done. It's come back into its wedge. Bitcoin's running, guys. Bitcoin's running, and then we need Ethereum to run harder than Bitcoin. And we'll look at the Bitcoin, we'll look at the Ethereum chart very shortly. But what you have to understand is the dominance is telling a story today. Bitcoin is going up, the dominance is going up. And when you look at Ethereum, you can see Ethereum hasn't come back into its trading pattern. You can see this was the resistance point, and it is being rejected at this point here, which is sat at $2,479. So what I talked about as well before in the previous video, in the Jasmine video, because I said Ethereum needs to run against Bitcoin. That will create the flow of liquidity outside of Bitcoin, outside of dollars, into Ethereum, and then higher risk on risk assets. Now, this is the concern for me, and this is where we need to break through in the short term, because you've got confluence here where you've got a rejection point. We're getting rejected at this level. We've also got a 50 period moving average, you've got a 20 period moving average, and you've got a 200 moving average, and they're all bulking together. Now, this is going to be a big resistance point, and that is quadruple confluence. So there's 4 areas of resistance that Ethereum needs to get through in the short term. Once Ethereum gets through there, guys, that is going to be really big for altcoins. That's going to create confidence in the altcoin market. So Ethereum, Bitcoin, this is the thing that we need to be looking at, because this is where Ethereum was showing strength in this wedge pattern here, because we've got the big flagpole to the upside. That's Ethereum dominating Bitcoin. That's Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin. And then we created a bull flag. We've dropped from the bull flag, guys. We've dropped from the bull flag. We haven't come back down and tested the previous low. So because of that, we're maintaining a higher low pattern. However, we do need to get past this level, which is 0.02616 Satoshis, for Ethereum to start really driving. You can see that coincides here with the 200 moving average. So you can see that Ethereum, because Ethereum hasn't come back into its trading pattern, where Bitcoin has, that is starting to put the dominance up today. And Ethereum is pulled out of this pattern here, and you're getting a rejection. It's all telling a story, guys. Then we look at the total 3. Total 3 is maintaining this. It was strong that we held the 778. I said we needed to hold this, guys. That coincides with this previous build up of price action here. Just pull it back. See how price reacted. Support, 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 resistance, resistance. It's come back through. It's acted as support. So that's strong, but exactly the same thing needs to happen. We need to break the 20. We need to break the 50. We need to break the 200. We need to break through this pattern before we can really start seeing altcoins perform. Because the crypto total market cap, what we're looking at, total 3, excludes Bitcoin, it excludes Ethereum, but it's the risk curve, guys. It's from Bitcoin, it's from dollars into Ethereum, from Ethereum into higher risk assets, even more on risk assets. And as the market grows, guys, and as the cycle progresses, people get more degen, people get higher risk, the gains get bigger, market gets over leveraged until the end. So the next thing is this. This is good. This is a rejection of the USDT dominance, and this is what we were waiting for. And this was the scare here, guys. And I said one thing: we could not breach and close above this previous high here. Otherwise, that was going to be bullish for the dollar, bearish for crypto. So we did get a rejection point, guys. We did create a double top, and now we are getting rejected with this big, massive move to the downside. That's when we got a big, massive move to the upside, when we got, guys, the deal, that deal that Mr. Trump was talking about. So you can see, you flip it in reverse, guys. We want the weak dollar. We want weak stable coins, because that's going to tell us that people are going more on risk. When people go more on risk, that creates a flow of liquidity into higher risk assets, putting the prices up there, guys. So the dollar index, this was good. We got a rejection. This is a fake out, got pushed back in. And this is a key level on the dollar now, guys, anywhere between 98 and 97. Once we break this 97, that's going to be banging. Absolutely banging for crypto, guys, once we break that level to the downside. So I think that's about it for now. Don't forget, guys, go on the Discord group. It is completely free. Link in the description below. And I've got Brad later on. It's probably going to be dropped tomorrow, but I'm going to be meeting him later on from Real Infinite Crypto, and we're going to be talking about the Agape token. So make sure you stay tuned for that, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.